Double K, welcome to the show. How are you?
Aloha, man. How are you, Rafi? Good to see you.
Doing good, yes, sir. We were talking a little bit just now. You're in Hawaii right now, right?
Yes, sir. I am on the beautiful island of Maui right now.
Nice. So you're originally from Indiana, is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Born and raised in Indiana. I still live there most of the year. I just kind of bounce out here over the winter months. So this will be year number 9 coming out here. And that kind of all started just being my slow time back at home. I had a friend from back there move out here, and I just, classic story, came out to visit. And the next year he said, "Hey, man, I got a spare room if you guys want, you want to come out for a couple months." And I was like, "Oh man, you can't beat that." It was when kind of my slow season back at home, so kind of took a chance, did it, and been doing it ever since. Man, it's been a lot of fun.
Dude, that's awesome. I've never been out to Hawaii, but it's on my bucket list for sure. I've heard a lot of
Oh,
good things.
we're gonna make it happen.
I would
Yes,
love to.
sir.
So I know you mostly from DJing. I know you do a handful of things, and we're gonna get into it, but I want to know how you got started with DJing and how music kind of came into your life.
Yeah. So let me think. I was really kind of big into sports in grade school, middle school, but in high school I had to have double knee surgery. So I was 15 when I had my first, and then 16 when I had my second knee surgery. So that kind of put a, end to the sporting career. But when I was a couple years younger, I remember my sister getting married, and there was a really good DJ there, real interactive. And I always thought in the back of my mind, oh man, that'd be a really fun job. And I was always big into entertaining. And so when the sports kind of went down with the surgeries, I just, that kind of opened an opportunity to kind of get into music. And and let's see that, so I started helping out a guy when I was let's see, 14. So right before the surgeries, my mom just randomly ran into this guy at a CVS. My brother was doing magic at the time. He's a few years younger than me, and she was developing some photos. And this guy said, "Oh, your son does magic," and they start talking, and she goes, "Yeah," and he goes, "Oh, I'm a DJ," and she goes, "Oh, my other son is kind of interested in music," and he goes, "Oh, you know what? I could use some help. I'm getting older, so." I kind of was helping him out. His shout out to Bob, helped him out for a couple years before I started doing my own thing after the surgeries and stuff like that. So it really worked out, kind of one door closed, kind of led to another one, and probably wouldn't have gotten too far in the sports world anyway. So
What sports were you playing?
I did football, which is really what screwed my knees up, and then track and basketball and baseball and stuff like that. But
Nice.
football was the one I what I really enjoyed. But it worked out, man. So that's kind of how it all came into play, So I started helping him out for a couple years, and then started doing my own thing, smaller shows. In high school, I also got an internship at a radio station, which was pretty beneficial because that was kind of a whole nother side of broadcasting and DJing. But I always kept the mobile work up, and then started doing different as I got into be 18 and 21, started doing bars and clubs and stuff like that, and just kind of slowly built it up a little bit at a time. So it's been fun. I love it.
Awesome. So, what were those first gigs like? Once you started branching into your own thing, you stopped helping Bob out, you
Yeah.
kind of went with your own way of what you wanted to do. Were you loading gear into venues? Were you doing private events and that kind of thing?
I won't forget my very first show ever was my grade school. It was the father daughter dance, and I DJ'd it off of an MP3 player. I didn't even have a computer yet, and so I would just pick a track. A really old. I remember the amp, man. It just weighed 1,000,000 pounds, and didn't have powered speakers. My parents gave me a little bit of money just to get us, kind of a starter setup. And yeah, the father daughter dance on the MP3 player, which I still have the photo of, which is hilarious to look back at now because that was 16, 18 years ago. So, but yeah, that was the first one ever. And then eventually I remember getting, computer and a really small, I think it was a Vestex Typhoon little controller.
Hmm.
And then, just kind of messing around. I don't know if I did virtual DJ. I think that was maybe what was on it at the time. But I quickly found Serato, which I'm thankful for because I still use it to this day.
Yeah.
I love Serato.
Man, virtual DJ is a throwback. I remember one of my first gigs was a basketball game for my high school. I was doing the varsity basketball games and I'd play during
Still there, Rob?
halftime. Oh, did I
Oh,
cut out
okay.
there? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
so
just
I
paused there for a minute. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. No, it's all good. So, one of my first gigs was a varsity basketball game, and I would play during halftime. And it was funny. The principal at the time just kind of called me into his office one day, and he was like, "I know you've been getting into music and getting into DJing. I can't afford to pay you, but would you be willing to play during halftime? We need music." And I was like, "Sure." And that's how I kind of that was like my first actual like public gig. Besides that was just like in my house, like house parties and stuff. But it's funny, man. Like going from that way back in the day to where we are now is a trip to look at. Um,
Oh man, and I love following your journey. You know what I mean? It's just been inspiring, man, and all the production and everything. And because I'm mostly a mixed DJ,
mhm,
that's kind of my forte. And just recently been trying to dabble in production and stuff, and it's a whole nother beast. So I really respect you on that because that's it's I've got a couple of tracks, and it's a special feeling when you can play something you've made.
for sure. I mean, it hits totally different when you're connected to the music in that way, or you know the ins and outs of it, and then you get to see the crowd react to it. It's pretty cool. So we talked about a little bit about how you got started helping Bob out, moving into your first gigs, and then where do we go from there? You just kind of steady started continuing to DJ and just did more and more events to where you are now. What's the progression look like?
Yeah, so I've been doing it 18 years. So from the first show, it was kind of a slow progress. I just tried to invest back in better gear. Then I started doing, started getting into like the wedding scene and doing weddings and stuff like that for, very on on the small end. I'm talking I was only 16 years old back then.
Hmm.
Um, and then slowly just met more people, whether it be through the radio when I was doing in high school for a while, and then just slowly built it up and just tried to network as much. I know it's oversaid and stuff like that, but just the power of following up with people and making true, not only connections but friendships, and just tried to surround myself with a lot of the people in the industry. And I had a lot of people that helped me out quite a bit. Um, Early on for sure. And so, it just kind of spiraled from there. And then, um, I've always just tried to, do things not only that I'm enjoying, but try to, like you said, we were talking about it a little bit, about the acting thing. And that was just kind of another entertainment source that I really enjoyed to do. So, and I happened to be only a couple hours from Chicago. Um, and that was actually for the Captain America movie. So kind of getting a little bit off topic there, but that was the first thing that we were able to do. We signed up for it together, and then 5 months later got the call, and then boom, we were there, and so it's always kind of been you meet a person through this job, or word of mouth is just everything. Once you start doing an event for a couple hundred people, then they're like, and you do a good job, then it just kind of spirals from there, man. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's opened a lot of opportunities. I'm DJing out here in Hawaii now, and picking up shows, and it's kind of like starting over when you're in a whole new state across the world.
Right.
But luckily, I had a buddy who was kind of putting feelers out for me, and so. But same thing. Once you do the first show and it goes well, the word kind of spreads.
You build that
So
momentum and it kind of snowballs out. But
yeah, yeah,
it it really is about who you know. And like you said, making connections and friendships, that goes so far in this
yeah.
industry because like you have a buddy that can help you out. Like you said with getting into acting, like it's you might not have gotten that opportunity if you didn't make that connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. So yeah, what about you though?
I've just been, I mean, how did I get started or what have I
Yeah,
been doing?
like from where you started to kind of where you're at now. I mean, how many
Yeah.
years?
Oh
I'm
man, I've been at it for around 12 years now, I would say.
okay.
And again, just started like working, producing in my bedroom into playing like that, those like varsity basketball games at school, like during the
Yes.
halftime. And then I went off to college for production. Didn't
Yep.
do much DJing in college, but then once I came back out, I opened up a studio, and then I started playing downtown and where I was living in Milledgeville, and then which I know you're familiar with. Um,
Yeah.
and then have slowly built it up from there. I'm living in Atlanta now and just like playing gigs every weekend, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, releasing my music, putting out new music every month. I have my own record label, had a radio show for a while. Like I'm just doing as much as I can. And like now this with like the podcasting thing is literally just an excuse to like catch up with friends and like give people a little bit of a spotlight, like you being able to tell your journey and all this stuff. Like it's just another cool opportunity and just something that I don't think is done enough, like being able to talk to people and see where they're coming from, because I feel like we're so like in our lane all the time, and like with me,
Right.
I'm in a laptop just producing, and like
Yeah.
I still like the opportunity to like talk to my friends and like get out of the studio.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're creatures of habit and we get so dialed into what we're doing. And that just kind of it reminded me, when you were talking about connections and stuff, a random one that kind of turned out to be a great friendship and still is to this day. I went to Cedar Point in Ohio, and this
Hmm.
was this was years ago, and there was a DJ playing there, and he was doing a great job, man. It's this awesome outfit on, it was rocking. DJ Dempsey, shout out to you. And and after that, I touched down with him on social media. And I said, "Hey, great set," and we just started talking and talking, and then he lives down in Florida in Tampa, and so to this day, I'll go down there now maybe once a year, once every couple years, and we'll do a show together, and we become really good buddies. And it's just just taking that step to reach out and say, "Hey, man, great set." um just wanted, and then that's what it's all about, I feel like. And same thing with Chris Jones, this hypnotist that I work with out of Chicago. I was a freshman at Ball State, and we had a hypnotist come to our school to do a show. And I was one that got called up and got hypnotized, and it was crazy. And after the show, I remember he took us all to Subway and bought all the cookies and was just the nicest guy in the world. And so I just reached out to him and thanked him again for everything. And we kind of became buddies. And, he being from Chicago, only a couple hours away from where I was from. And then a couple years later, he got on America's Got Talent and hypnotized Howie Mandel. And
Wow.
and he invited me. And I just told him, I was like, "Hey, man, if you ever want a DJ, to come warm up the crowd before your shows, just let me know." And then I'm pretty sure that week he was like, he got me a flight and we were in Utah or somewhere together. And so it's crazy how things can transpire, just if you just reach out and take a chance. And, it, and we became, I've DJ'd his wedding and, now, and we became like brothers, best friends. And it's all just from a random connection and, just running into him years and years ago. And, but yeah, it's kind of a funny story, but
Yeah,
yeah,
man,
everything, man.
you never know. Like, if you wouldn't have reached out, you wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. Like,
Right.
it's about making those moments happen. And even like without expecting anything, just to like meet
Right.
somebody, make a friend. Like, it's,
Exactly.
it's really easy to make everything about work, but
Right.
like that stuff comes, naturally. I feel like
Yeah.
as long as you put yourself in the position, like I'm just going into this, like make a new buddy, we have similar interests, whatever it might be.
Exactly.
Maybe we can help each other out in the future, but like I'm
Right.
just going into it with an open mind. That's huge, I think.
Oh, I 100% agree. And, it's just one of those things where you meet and you just hit it off. And like you said, it's people with similar interests as you. And then, it's just kind of a natural bond, that kind of entertainers in general have, whether it be DJ, singer, hypnotist, you know,
Absolutely.
and
And like
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I think that from social media and just seeing stuff online, everything feels so big, but like entertainment in general is such a small field and like such a small world. Everybody seems to be connected to each other somehow or another.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Doesn't matter where you're at. You're like, oh, I know that guy. And I think social media has helped that tremendously, just
Hmm.
because it doesn't matter where you're at, and it's fun. You can just easier to link up with like-minded people and like that's how we all got, we got connected. I was down there doing a show in Milledgeville and I'd seen, I don't know if you were there at the first one or somehow, but I heard about you and I said, hey, wait a minute, I know this guy, so um, and I was like, he's doing a lot of good stuff down there. So I want to, reach out and, learn more about this guy, man. And I'm glad I did, dude, because, we've been able to hang out a couple times and you were always so supportive and always coming out when I'm down there playing at the bar. And, it's fun, man. I love it. I can't see myself doing anything else. It's
For sure. I
one
mean,
of those things where it's like, even after all these years, I'm still not sick of it. And I think it's because everyone's a little bit different,
mhm.
and it just kind of keeps you on your toes. There are definitely certain nights that are, longer than others, you could say, but for the most part, I enjoy it. And, especially because it's like, whether it be a wedding or a bar or nightclub or a festival or something like that, it's like people are there to have a good time. And I
Yep.
love being a part of that. Even if I can be a small part of that, it makes me feel good. So
I agree. And I think a lot of it is for to do it as much as we do, it's really important not to get burnt out. And I
right.
feel like being able to do different events like you do, doing, weddings, festivals, private events, whatever it is, it's so different and the crowds like you need to adjust to that. So it
Right.
keeps it fresh for you, right?
100%. And that's kind of always been my goal because yeah, I can book, let's just say all weddings. And like you said, you might get burned out. But if you start doing, I try to split them up. I save some dates for, I do a couple of music festivals on the like literally lake parties in Indiana,
Mhm.
northern Indiana, these huge sandbar parties. One's on the 4th of July, over 1,000 boats come to this sandbar and I perform on the top of a houseboat, just line the boat up with powered speakers. And it's those that are just fun. Another one is the
Yeah.
Cricket Lake Music Festival that I do. It's a volunteer gig. And it's a fundraiser for the Humane Society up there. But it's what's cool about those is every year, this is the 12th year I've done it. Every year, you're seeing the same people. It's kind of like a reunion every year. And it's for a good cause, and you're out on the water, performing, and you just like anything else. This year, it was kind of crazy. I was doing the festival up there, and I got a call a couple of days later, and there was a gentleman there from a casino who had heard me play and reached out and said, hey, what are you doing this Sunday? Do you want to come out and perform with Snoop Dogg? I was like, what? So 5 days after the show there, I was up in Michigan at Soaring Eagle. Shout out to you guys, and got to open up for Snoop and Too Short, Warren G, and Corrupt, and it was one of the greatest experiences ever. And it was one of those random things; they just happened to be in the crowd, you
You
know.
never know.
And since then, we've built a relationship around that show, and more to come. So I'm super pumped about that. That was kind of a highlight of the year this past year. But getting off topic again, me just rambling on. But
No, it's all good. It's all
but it's
good.
fun, man. I love it. I super pumped that I get to do it, and I don't take anything for granted. Like coming out here, it just a lot of people think it's just like undoable, and
Mhm.
nothing's stopping you, man. It's like
Right.
people out here are no different. They work hard and they make it work, and it's just kind of eye opening. At least for me, coming from the Midwest to
Hmm.
come all the way out here, even if it's only for part of the year. But yeah, it's awesome, man. It's fun,
It
especially I get to do music out here now too, a little bit more. I'm starting to do more and more, so it and that's super fun too. That just shows me the crowds are pretty much all the same. People perform. You can perform all over the country, and for the most part, with some variations. Um, party and club music is all the same, man. And that makes it fun too. It just shows us that we're all the same, no matter where we're at in the world or the country. Um, music brings us all together. And that's kind of the beauty of it all.
100%. And you
Yeah.
mentioned a lot of people feel like it's not doable or like something that they can't reach to make a move like that, to move from Indiana to Hawaii, for example. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's very mental. Like we kind of set these
Mhm.
blocks up in our head, like, oh, that would be great, but I could never really do that, or like I'm not gonna be in a position to do that. But I feel like you have to think of it in a different way where like you're not limiting yourself, but you're like, okay, this is my goal. How can I reach it? Like, what are the steps that I can take every day, even if they're little, to like get to that point? Because, like you
Yeah.
said, I mean, it's doable. Like, you did it.
Oh, it's absolutely doable. And I think it's like you said, it's all the mindset of just, being comfortable. And a lot of people, once they are comfortable, whether it be in their hometown or, and it's also different too, because I don't, me and my fiance, we don't have any kids yet.
Mhm.
So I know that kind of can make things a little bit trickier, with relocating and family and stuff like that. And I kind of like what we do because, we're still able to get home and see our family and stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, we can get the heck out of the cold, basically.
Absolutely.
And over the years, we've really built up kind of, second family out here, man. And it's a beautiful thing because there's, everybody out here is from somewhere random all over the world, So we got,
Interesting.
we've got just people on the property, from Cincinnati and um, Arizona, and yeah, just from all over the place. We've got people living here from Montana, so
Wow.
this is kind of a neat mixture of people, and it's always fun to see. This is the same as like a show.
Yeah.
We're performing. We've got every different demographic out there sometimes, and that's kind of the beauty behind it, but also kind of the tricky part behind sometimes, making sure everybody has a good time. And that's why I'm always trying to genre flip and just do, keep people on their toes, not necessarily, you know, just playing what they're expecting all the time.
I do the
Keep it
same
interesting
things.
for not only them, but also us.
Yeah, no, I love to just flip things and like subvert expectation in my sets and just do like what people aren't expecting. Those, I,
Yeah.
I feel like that makes like the best moments in a set for me is when you get that reaction. They're like, you just completely blew their mind with something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's nothing better. Like literally nothing better, man. You just get that adrenaline rush. You know what I mean?
100%. Now, I know that you've played all over the place. You mentioned that people are more or less the same, like as far as the party crowd goes, but has there been anything that surprised you? Like maybe you played somewhere new and it wasn't what you were expecting?
Mm. So I just got to do a show. That's a good one. Let me think here. Did get to do a show in Mexico back in December. This was my first international show, which is pretty
Mhm.
neat, down in Cozumel. And, you know, that was the first one where I didn't really know what to expect, and I was expecting to play um, a lot of Latin style music, obviously. And what I was surprised is when I was dropped, I wanted to throw in a little bit of American music, is
Mhm.
throw it in here and there just to kind of mix it up. And they went crazy when I did that. And I really expected them to, and I think it just, I thought about it and I was like, oh, well, they're so used to hearing this style. And that's kind of what I was excited to do. But that was kind of surprising for me, I guess. And I'm trying to think of what else kind of threw me off. I mean, out here, obviously in Hawaii, reggae, that island style, people love it, but they
Mhm.
still love that hip hop, and especially right now, that early 2000s, is just booming right now, and
It,
which I love because that's, in my opinion, some of the best. It's still the best club music, and you can play it anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's just some of that stuff is just gold beats. I call it. It's just like the golden era of party music, and I don't think it'll ever go away, which it's fun that it's making a comeback now. The 90s were really making a comeback, and now it's the early 2000s. And it's just like, they better not call it classic music because that's like when I was middle school and high school. So we're getting up there though, I guess. Darn it.
100%. I mean, even in my sets, like my sets are mostly EDM based, but I
Right.
find myself doing remixes of like early 2000s and just stuff that people can relate to, and it goes crazy. It's
Yeah, it
wild.
goes crazy. Yeah, but it's fun. The trends and how, seeing kind of, well, some trends, some
Mhm.
music you're like, oh man, do I really have to play that again?
Do you guys really like to hear this still? That's crazy.
Yeah, how is this song still alive? But it's I always think about it. We're there for them. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I always try to put my own kind of flavor on it, but at the end of the day, and that's another thing. I've always just tried to been an open format guy.
Hmm.
I never wanted to put myself in a box where it's like I wouldn't be able to do this kind of show. I kind of always wanted to challenge myself, whether it be, a quinceanera or a bar mitzvah even. I've done a couple of those.
Yeah.
And, just wanted to be able to play everything. I just
Hmm.
did Hippie Fest last year, which was like a 4-hour disco set, just
Wow.
disco music.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is gonna be tricky, but we had a ball. And it
Yeah.
just like you said, it keeps you from burning out, keeps it
Hmm.
interesting, um, and just keeps it fun, man. And that's what I'm all about. I mean, my opinion's been if you're not having fun, like what's the point of, you know, living? I mean,
Right.
yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do to make by. Well, you should at least be enjoying yourself doing it. If not, just find something else. I mean, there's so many things you can do out there. But
I
anyway.
agree. The Mexico thing is super interesting because I had the opposite experience. So I played in Cancun, but it was at a
Oh,
resort. And I
okay.
I I went in expecting like, okay, I gotta get this Latin music because they're gonna want it. The
Right.
crowd was all tourists. The crowd was people from the States who wanted like early 2000s and just exactly what you'd
Oh
expect.
no.
So it was like, oh, okay, like a normal set, I guess. And then did that, but I was fully expecting like, okay, this is gonna be super Latin. Like I'll be able to switch it up, stuff that I never play. No.
You're like, all right, well, it's
Yeah.
all the same. Yeah.
Bread and butter.
And I think it was just the bar I was playing at was a very local, it
Mhm.
was like downtown Cozumel. And there were, a little bit of tourists, but it was definitely more local, which was fine. That's kind of what I expected. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's nice when you can be able to see it and just make an audible like that,
Hmm.
you know.
Absolutely. Do you think having played so many different kinds of events and
Mhm.
being so versatile, because you've done festivals, you've done private events, weddings, all these things, um, you kind of have to adapt your approach differently. And I
Mm.
feel like some DJs who only do one kind of event don't really recognize that, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying because, let's say you're going to do a wedding or you're going to do a Snoop Dogg show.
mhm,
You know, you're preparing in, well, not necessarily different ways because you're always, preparing your crates and getting everything somewhat organized. My kind of approach is I always have probably my first song, maybe two songs like planned, and
mhm.
the rest of it's just kind of go with it. Um, but yeah, you definitely gotta think about not only the elements. Let's say if you're playing an outdoor show, like one thing that like the Snoop Dogg show was crazy was it was so hot that day and the sun was coming right down on the CDJ.
Oh,
And thank God that the crew there had some sun protection because I did not.
mhm.
So it's like being prepared for things like that or having backups. Or I did a show with Ludacris in another situation where it was super hot that day, and I had ice packs like in a cooler by my setup. I swear to God. And I was getting ready just in case anything was to overheat. I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. But hey, you do what we got to do because the last thing you want is some technical error because you know how that goes. It's like you can plan all you can plan as much as you want, but those things
Mhm.
happen and you're like, so, but I don't know. I guess just after the years, it's just I've learned just investing in good equipment is a big one, because when I was first starting out, I was trying to get more of the budget side equipment,
Mm,
and it's just issue after issue.
yeah.
And so that's one thing that I would tell people who are just kind of maybe they're just starting or wanting to start, like just
Mm,
invest good stuff because it'll get you a lot farther, and take care of it.
absolutely.
That was one thing that, Bob was really big on when we were young, was just like everything was taken meticulously good care of. Um, but yeah, man, it's fun.
What's the saying? Take care of your gear and it'll take care of you, you know?
Yeah, seriously, man. I get the
Yeah.
deck savers on everything,
Hmm.
and it does, man. It really does make a difference. Plus, if you're going to be doing this full time, or you're going to be trying to take it seriously, you just got to get good stuff, man. At least it's just going to save you headaches.
Have you ever had a CDJ overheat in the sun?
No, thank God.
Oh man, so I had that happen one time where I was doing a pool party and I had a tent. I didn't have a
Okay.
deck saver or anything, like little thing to block the sun. Didn't
Yeah.
have that. And it was fine because I was underneath the tent, but then as the sun went down, it just started hitting the CDJ. One of them just froze. And like
Oh,
it was still on, but it wouldn't do anything. Like the screen was still
oh,
there, everything was still like turned on, wasn't doing anything. And then I ended up having to turn it off and I was DJing with one CDJ for a little bit until it came back on. You know, you do like the roll or whatever and like just find a
exactly.
creative way to make it work.
Yeah.
Um, it happens.
That's what we got to do, man.
Yep.
Exactly. Get ready to call those audibles. Anything but dead air. Anything
Yep.
but dead air.
Yep.
You get really good grabbing the mic real quick, and oh, da, 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 you're trying to multitask, and
On
but
that note, I feel like stuff like technical stuff like that happens more at like private events more than it does at clubs or festivals.
definitely.
For whatever reason, like unless somebody comes up and spills a drink on the decks, which
Oh,
happens, but I mean it is far less likely than like having somebody trip over a cable at a wedding or like a private
right.
event where the sun bakes your CDJ, whatever it is. What
Yep.
what um what lessons do you think that has taught you that maybe just playing in clubs would not have taught you?
Mm. Maybe just being more mindful of where everything is and where
Hmm.
everyone is, because when you're doing private events, the setups are always different, the buildings are always different. There might be kids there, so you kind of have to prepare for everything. I just did a private wedding, and there was over 200 kids there, an 800-person wedding, and 200 of them were kids. So, you know, I'm constantly looking around to make sure, none of them's pulling, one of my towers down or something like that. So I don't know, just probably versus the clubs. And that's because they're typically, um, they have a house system and you
Hmm.
don't have to worry about setting up anything. And maybe they'll have a sound tech. So that just kind of takes a lot of that stress off. Whereas, you come in for a private event, you're setting everything up. You're the sound guy, you got to make sure everything runs smooth and all, and but it is all your equipment, so
Yeah.
you get pretty familiar with it, and I kind of like that even more than sometimes trying to plug into a house system that I don't know anything about, because that's when I
Yeah.
feel like I have more issues. Whereas my stuff, I pretty much never have issues, knock on wood.
Well,
But it's definitely, like you said, I haven't had any people spill oil necessarily, but I've had some interesting encounters at. I mean, you've seen it. We see everything and then some at these shows, man. And
what's one that comes to mind just off the top of your head?
I had one a couple years ago. It was a wedding, and the groomsman, or no, I'm sorry, the best man had choked on a piece of steak at the rehearsal dinner, and had to have emergency surgery the day of the wedding, and showed up to the reception in his hospital gown just in time to give his speech. And he walks up,
Wow.
sorry I'm late, everybody. And it rolls.
Because
Yeah.
everybody knew what happened, right?
Yeah, that was a crazy one. I had one, it was another wedding. It was a groomsman walked off the trolley just like covered in blood. He like
Oh,
bit his tongue really bad. and we were about to bring everybody in, and I'm just like, this is crazy, man.
You
It's
never
just
know.
off the wall stuff that you just never expect to see, but it like you said, it keeps it interesting, and you just never know what you're gonna get into.
You mentioned using house systems versus bringing in your own stuff. One thing that's funny to me is a lot of these clubs that I play will still have like a sound check, even though they're using their own equipment night after night and nothing changes. They're like, "Hey,
Mhm.
can you be here 30 minutes before doors so we can sound check?" And then all the sound check is plug it in your USB.
Signal.
Yep, we got level, and then that's it. Like,
Yep. Oh
I
yeah, I
mean,
love the DJ sound check. It's silly. Got sound? Okay, I'm done.
yeah, literally. Like I get it if it's a band, because you're gonna have to
Right.
adjust stuff and whatever. But like it's you haven't moved the equipment. It's the same as it was last night. It's still gonna work. I don't get it, but sure,
I don't
yeah.
know. Maybe they're just checking off the boxes, I guess. Just making sure.
It's a formality.
Exactly. It's a format.
Um, let's talk about the acting thing a little bit. Let's get into
Hmm.
that. So, you mentioned it was Bob that gave you your first opportunity.
No, it was actually my buddy Pete.
Oh, Pete.
Was
Okay.
He was the manager at the radio station that I worked at. Well, I was an intern, and then I became a part-time employee there. So he had done some background work in Chicago, and he just let me know, hey, they're doing a screening for Captain America: Winter Soldier, which at the time they were calling it Frostbite.
Mm.
That's what they'll do because a lot of times they'll change the name of the film or whatever. But
Hmm.
so it was in Cleveland, which was about, I don't know, 3 hours or so from where we were at. So we just drove there one day. I will never forget. It was like freezing cold. We had to wait full probably 3 or 4 hours outside just in line. And then we got in, we got our photo taken, questionnaire, bunch of stuff. And then we headed home. 4 or 5 months, didn't hear a thing. And then I get a call. It's like 6 p.m. And I got a call and they say, hey, this is so and so from Marvel Casting. And I was just like, what? And they're like, can you be here at 6 a.m. tomorrow? And I was like, yep. And I had a couple buddies with me, and I was like, you guys want to go to Cleveland? I was like, I need to be there at like 6 in the morning. And they're like, yep. So we drove there that night. I got a hotel on the way. I probably slept maybe 2 hours, 3 hours tops. Just so excited, got up and went to film. And this was like the first one I had done, and I was by myself, and so got there, and it was the scene where Sam Jackson is getting chased by the police downtown
Hmm.
Washington. I was getting the SUV shot at. So we were pedestrians kind of on the sidewalk on this one.
Nice.
And oh man, it was epic. It was like 12 hours of filming. He had three stunt doubles there. So he himself was only there. Sam Jackson was only there like maybe 5 minutes. And
Wow.
I'll never forget. It was the coolest thing ever when he showed up. He's getting his eye patch on, he's getting his coat on and all this stuff, makeup. And he goes, the only thing I heard him say was, all right, let's F this up. And I was like, dang. And he was there for like 5 minutes, and then all those other stunt doubles are there. But it was really cool, man. Like
Yeah.
just seeing the whole production. Like they had turned Cleveland into DC, huge banners, and like they have magnet license plates. So when they crash the cars, they just put them back on,
Yeah.
and they
Wow.
so we did that. So that was super fun. And then after that, there's a company called Four Star out of Chicago, and a lot of their stuff was just through Facebook and then email and stuff like that. But they had a lot of different shows filming out there, so I was able to do a couple other just odd end shows on Empire on Fox.
Hmm.
Think of some of the other ones. The Red Line was the CBS one, and then the last one I just did was Paper Girls, which was cool because that was the one I finally got to play a DJ. So
Nice.
it's like a
So
time traveling show kind of thing where it's like Stranger Things kind of meets Back to the Future.
yeah.
So I got to play a scene where they go back to the 90s, where they go to this warehouse rave. And oh my God,
Nice.
crazy, man. I had like pink glitter all over me and this crazy pink outfit. And I'm up there, pretending to DJ, but I was just like, oh, I'm in the element now. But it was
I
weird
love
because it
that.
was during COVID. So like in between filming, we all had to put masks on. And then they'd like be like, okay, get your mask off. Three, two, one, action. And then I'd do the thing. And so yeah, it's one of the episodes. It's on Amazon Prime.
Mhm.
But it's pretty funny. You can see me for a couple seconds, just up there dancing and going crazy. So, it's just one of those things. I've just had a friend who told me about it. It's a couple hours away. It's easy to do, and it's just fun. I mean, you're not getting rich off it, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I just enjoy doing it and seeing like the production of that whole side of things.
I had a
And to not
similar
have to
thing.
go to California or something like that for it.
Yeah, I had a similar thing because being in Georgia, a lot of these filming companies started
Yeah.
filming here because they got a big tax break and whatever. So during COVID, I was doing a lot of sound for various different films.
Okay.
And
Cool.
yeah, and then one of them, I ended up, there was a strip club scene in this movie called Vendetta, which they filmed like 10 minutes from my house.
Okay.
And the production company called me because they knew I was a DJ and I had worked with them before. They said, "Hey, we're doing this strip club scene. Can you set up a bunch of your lights and your equipment and all this stuff, and we'll have you DJ in the club, right?" So, like you said, 12-hour day, you set up all this stuff. We had like our big LED wall and everything. And then I'm pretending to DJ. They were like, Rafi, play like 5 seconds of music and then cut it and we'll do the scene. And I was like, okay. So I played like 5 seconds of music, I cut the music, everybody's still kind of just like bobbing along as if something was playing. And it's
Mhm.
so funny, man. But I know how that goes. It's a lot of hurry up and wait, like those 12-hour days.
Yes.
You film a little something and you got to change scenes. You got to wait for the lighting crew to set up, everybody to like find their places, and then you film a little bit here, and then same thing. Everybody waits for another hour and like reset up. It's crazy.
It really is a hurry up and wait thing, man. Because most of the
Hmm.
time you just, oh, come on, and you don't know, like, all right, then you got to go to wardrobe and do this and that, and but it's a lot of fun to see it, and it's just fun to be a part of it. One scene was I remember we were doing it was like a cocktail hour, and I was playing a waiter, and I'm walking around, and it's this bright sunny day, through the curtains, and this guy walks in, he's soaking wet, and I was like, what the heck? And so I go over the window and I like open it, and it was completely fake light. This guy was like 25 stories high on like a scaffolding with a huge light. It's like absolutely downpouring, storming outside. And he's just sitting there with a poncho on, just holding this light in the window. And I'm like, wow, this is some crazy stuff. Like,
it's
the movie magic stuff is wild.
it gets intricate for sure.
Yeah, like especially the Captain America one, man. Seeing like these $2 million vehicles that have these cameras on them and talking to the stunt guys was so fascinating. Like one guy, it was a scene where the bus exploded or the bus stop exploded, all this glass, and he slipped and like cut his face all up. I was like, man, he's oh, just another day at work. I was like, man, you guys are a different breed, man. But it
The
was cool. It was super cool, man. So it's fun to see how they kind of piece it all together, and just to be a little part of that, is especially when it comes out.
I had
But yeah.
one where they had the breakaway glass for
Oh
like a
yeah.
vase, and they had two. One was the real vase. One was like a breakaway vase that shatters when you hit somebody with it. That's like whatever made of sugar. Um, they said we have an extra. Let's test it. But then they forgot which one was
Oh
the
no.
fake, and somebody got hit. I'm not gonna say who it was. Somebody got hit in the head with an actual vase. They were fine, like, but the vase didn't break. It was just like dunk, like,
Oh,
and they're like, well,
awkward.
yeah. They said, well, I'm glad you're okay, and that was kind
Oh,
of as far as that went. But man, there's always something. Do you think there's a I don't know if it would be a similarity or like anything that DJing and acting have in common or anywhere where
hmm.
it sort of overlaps in terms of like creativity or like giving a performance. Like, because for
Oh,
acting, you kind of
definitely.
turn it on, you know?
Yeah, exactly. The giving a performance thing is definitely correlates to both, I would say, because I mean, when you're on, it doesn't matter, and maybe you're just background acting, and I know that's very different.
Mm,
Uh, then, but all eyes are on you. I mean, especially DJing. I would say, I mean, because they're all watching you, and if you're up there just sitting there and head down the whole time, it's like it's going to correlate to the crowd. And but if you're back there having fun, engaging, like I'm always on the mic, just trying to get everybody involved, and then it definitely transpires you're going to get that back it's because they're all watching you. It's like it's the
mm,
same idea of if there's a band, like yeah, you're kind of, let's say at a nightclub might be a little bit different because there's a lot going on. You're kind of, but still at the end of the day, if you're having a good time, the crowds will be having a good time. And I think that helps with the mixing too, because my mixing's better if I'm more engaged.
yeah,
So I would say there's a decent amount of acting to it
yeah.
because you kind of become like a persona, not a different persona when you're on.
Mm.
Um, and it just kind of, I don't know, I just naturally kind of get into it. I call it my show hangovers, and I wake up the next day and I'm like, oh, my back, my knees. I'm like, I
Yeah,
didn't even drink last night, but I was just dancing, getting too into it, but I can't help it.
exactly. I totally get that because I'm sober too, and like it's weird how you can be hungover without even drinking, like just from
Right.
exerting yourself. You know, you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
I feel like crap today. I gotta recover, but like I
Yeah.
drank water all night. You know, like
I know, right? Sometimes I'll be driving home after a show, like a lot of times after a show,
mm,
silence, nothing on the
yeah.
radio. And I'm just sitting there like decompressing, like, oh, that was epic, but at the
I
same
do
time, I'm
that.
like, I can't listen to anything right now.
I do that like on the way to shows, on the way back. A lot of the times I'm listening to like podcasts or like
Hmm.
something just chill because like I know in a few hours or like the night before or whatever it is, it's gonna be crazy. So like I just need a
Right.
little bit of like downtime.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think that's
Yeah.
important to have that. And
And I'm sure as often as you DJ, like I mean, whenever I've seen you play, you're very comfortable on stage, you know, like it comes naturally to you. I feel like I'm that way too, but I'm more comfortable if there's a big crowd. It's weird.
Mhm.
Like versus like if there's five people in the room, I kind of feel like I'm like a zoo attraction and like these five people are just like staring up at me and I'm like, hey guys, like, yep,
I know
playing the next
exactly
song.
what you're talking
it's
about.
it's weird, but like if it's packed, I'm like, this is great. I'm totally fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
almost because they just blur together and it just seems
Mm-hmm.
like, I always love it when I'm looking down and it's just like, let's just say it's early and it's just
Yeah.
filling it, and you're just like, oh boy, because everybody's there. It's just like, okay, well, this is a little weird, until
Yeah.
it starts filling in. And then, it's funny when you look up and then all of a sudden you look up, it's packed, and you're like, whoa, how did this happen? But yeah, I agree with what you're saying, because I think it's almost too much to even comprehend. So you
Mm-hmm.
just kind of play it like, okay, there's not individual people, even though they are all individual people, but it just becomes kind of a sea of people. And
Yep.
then, and then the energy is just so much better too. And that's, I feel like the biggest thing is just once that energy is flowing, then it's just like, then it becomes super fun. Then you can just kind of
100%.
build off it and build off it. And, you know, yeah, it's awesome.
100%.
Yeah.
Is there anything you do specifically to stay engaged with the crowd? Because like for me, I like to do everything on the fly when I'm DJing, but
Yeah.
then there's certain times when I'm like, oh, I've been like locked in too hard. I need to look up and like make eye contact with somebody and like make sure
Yes.
everybody's good. But then at the same time, like I gotta figure out what the next song is, and like I do a lot of really quick mixing. So like it can
Yeah.
be like 30 seconds of a song and then I gotta have the other one ready to go, like which doesn't
Yeah.
give you much time to like look around, like wave to somebody, whatever it is. Is there
Right.
anything that you do specifically that like helps you engage with the crowd?
Hmm. That's a good point. Well, there's definitely certain songs that I'm playing longer than others.
Mm,
Certain tracks where, let's say, the best part's toward the end.
mm,
I'm trying to think of something like, no, let's say No Hands,
yeah,
for example. You got to play that end. And so I try to utilize those longer songs to kind of do my breaks because yeah, I'm with you. If I'm quick mixing, maybe I don't know if I would do 30 seconds. That's awesome. But I typically try to do like 60, 90 seconds in and
mm,
out, just like hook versus hook, and then I'm into the next one. and
Yeah.
unless it's one of those. But then I don't know. I don't really have a certain way. I just kind of go if I can hear the break and I know it's just like, okay, I got a little bit of an intro still here. Then I'll just use that opportunity to hop on. Or like you said, if it's been too long since I've said something, or engage with the crowd, or you can just kind of sense the energy. If it's too quiet, you're like, okay, I need to do this, and then hit them with
Hmm.
this. It'll bring them right back. Or if it's been too high, you're like, okay, let's send it. Let's kind of slow it down a little bit. And we all have our transition tracks that we know whether we're going from genre to genre or we're going from a certain BPM to another. We're like, okay, this will get them to the bar. Let them get
Hmm.
a drink, if that may be the case. And everyone's different. A wedding is completely different because those you want to keep them on the dance floor,
Yeah.
for as long as possible. And the music I do differently, where I'll start off with more of the classic stuff, get the older people out there, and then kind of work our way into more of the modern stuff. But even then,
Hmm.
I'm I throw something crazy at them. What the, and I love that when people are like, what? Or they come
Yeah.
up and ask me what the song is. And sometimes, I try to play new stuff that people don't even know, but I'm not afraid to get on the mic and say, hey, this is a brand new song. Let me know what you guys think. Cause it almost gets them involved as part of the show.
Hmm.
Whereas they're like, oh, okay, I'm a critic now. I'm
Yeah.
part of the show.
Right.
Rather than just playing something they don't know and then being like, I don't know this. Because you know how that is with people.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like they don't know it. God forbid they're just gonna stand. It's just like just try to keep your mind open, and that's what we're supposed to do as DJs. Is like we're not radios. We're not supposed to be
Hmm.
playing the same stuff.
Right.
You know?
Some people, some club owners feel like we should be though. You know what I
Mm,
mean? They're
yeah.
very this is what they like, kind of thing. Some places are more strict than others.
Right.
Luckily, a lot of the places that I play at like are happy to let me do whatever I want. But like
Yeah.
I've been to some places and they're like, no, you got to do this, this, and this.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't fight it because I mean they're paying me, but like I didn't like it's like I didn't know you were the DJ. Like I thought I was hired to DJ, you know?
Right. Right. And like I get that to a certain extent, like if there's like, okay, this is kind of the vibe of the club, but
Hmm.
it's like at the end of the day, if they're hiring you to be there, they should already know, like, all right, let me do my thing. If I start screwing up, then let me know. But until
Yeah.
then, you know, just give me a chance to kind of do what we do,
Yeah.
you know. And it's a constant thing, man. I feel like that is just like the oldest story ever told is
Hmm.
because we always get blamed for all the fights or whatever happens. It's the music. It's the music.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, we do control the momentum and the flow and the energy of the crowd.
100%.
So there is a bit of it's kind of a double edged sword. It's a bit
Hmm.
of responsibility on both ends. But
Do you do you like having people on stage?
mm, I do to an extent. I like
Hmm.
if people want to come up and hang out for a minute and say hey, I'm totally cool with that. As long as obviously like the obvious ones of not bumping into the gear, not
Yeah.
holding drinks anywhere near anything.
Yeah.
That's like the big no just because that can screw up everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if people want to come up and watch for a little bit, I'm all for it. If they're interested in it. I mean, all
Hmm.
night, maybe not, but I think most people are pretty cool with just kind of coming up and saying hey. And of course, I'm all for that. And I love that because,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're there for them.
Hmm.
Um, as long as it's not interfering with, any of the gear or any of the,
Yeah.
whole situation.
I in my perspective, I have people on stage almost every time. Like
Hmm.
and but I cycle them through. Like I'll have like five, depending on how big the stage is, 5 or 10 people on stage at a time,
Yep.
and they'll be up
Yep.
there for like 5 minutes, whatever, and then bring a new group and just kind of let everybody have a turn kind of thing. With how many people have drinks at clubs, you would think by now people would understand, let me not have my drink on stage. Let me put it off to the side. We're and I guess for me it's a little different because I have people that are there with me on stage that can help kind of, you know, help everybody out. Like put your drinks here or like, okay, you
Right.
guys,
That's nice.
time to cycle them through whatever. They can help out with that. but you would think I'm seeing a lot of the same people when I play at the same places. Like it's the same
Right.
people on stage. You always have to tell them, "Hey, no drinks. Like put your drink over here." Like you should know by now.
Right, right. You would think. You
Yeah.
would think. And maybe it's a PSA that needs to go out there. No drinks around the DJ equipment. These do not go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Until I don't know why they haven't created a waterproof set yet. Maybe
It's
someday,
coming.
right? Come on, Pioneer.
Yeah. Um, one thing that I've been doing recently is I'll have somebody on stage, and as a bit of crowd engagement, I'll let them do something. Like they'll like cue the next song or whatever. I'll be like, "Hey, on three, like hit the play button," and it's like 1, 2, 3, go, and they freak out because they're like, "I
Oh
did
yeah.
something," like they
Yeah.
they cue in whatever like popular song that they know, and like they're
Oh
freaking
yeah.
out.
That's a great
The
idea.
crowd's freaking out, and I've been thinking about it lately. I think even if they don't want to DJ full time or whatever it is, that can really open the door into like, oh, this is like what that feeling is. Like,
Right.
because they hit play, even if it's just hitting play, the crowd goes crazy. Like, they're like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they get a little taste of that and they can take that into their own lives. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun, man. And just giving people that opportunity, like, I don't know, it's fun. It's really
Well, like
cool.
you said, it comes back to the crowd engagement thing. And like you said, you've always been, from what I've seen on your videos and seeing you play, it's like you've always nailed that, man. Like getting the crowd involved in not only them going to a show, but being a part of the show. And that's what I've always tried to do is I try to put on a show. I'm not,
Hmm.
playing music. It's like I want these people to be like, leave that night and be absolutely like, whoa, like that. I'm
100%.
exhausted. I
Yeah.
love it. The floors, everybody's just sweaty and nasty by the end of it, and I'm like, yeah, I love that.
I agree. And like for me, I think I've gotten better at it as I've gone along. Like when I started years ago, I was doing a lot of open format stuff, even at
Mhm.
clubs. And then I knew that I always wanted to do EDM, but the college crowds that I was playing to, it wasn't what they wanted to hear at the time. And it's come
Mhm.
along, like it was a lot of rap, a lot of like throwbacks, whatever, which
Right.
is cool. But I was like, oh, I really want to play this. And now I've gotten to a point where like I'll go to the same place that I was playing at years ago and they're requesting EDM, or like I'm able to play like really heavy stuff that I would have never like thought of years ago, when I was playing
Oh
whatever
yeah.
open format set, but like always with the idea of engaging with the crowd and bringing them into it, like making it
Right.
special.
And I love to see how the EDM is just blowing up just in like mainstream and because I went to like Tomorrow World, the one in
Hmm.
down in Atlanta in
Hmm.
2013. That was a great time for EDM, but at the time it was still wasn't as big here as it, and then just to see where it's come and I love it because
Yeah.
personally, one of my favorite styles of music, and there's just so many different avenues you can go with it, and the festival, it's fun. It's all good energy and stuff like that. But I love to see how it's becoming more popular, not only in festivals, but also like these college clubs and stuff like that. Because yeah, like you said, back in the day, it was. I mean, if it wasn't a remix of some sort, it would not work.
Yeah.
It just. But I always kept hearing it's going to come around. It's getting more popular. It's getting more popular, and then now, yeah, I would say it's easily probably one of the biggest genres out right now. I mean, even in the States now.
Yeah. I mean, having been in it for so long, I feel like there's always been like pockets of it, but
Right.
it was because I was like in the culture, you know what I mean? Versus
Well,
like,
right.
but like
And
now you can go anywhere and like DJs are playing Coachella when that like EDM DJs playing Coachella. That never happened back in the day, and like
right.
I don't know, it's on a whole nother level now.
Yeah. And being like from the Midwest, obviously house music in
Hmm.
Chicago and in Detroit it's been around forever,
Hmm.
but it still wasn't that like, I don't want to say mainstream, but it just
Yeah.
wasn't as popular with the masses, as it
Hmm.
is now. And I think that it's just a good energy, and I think that it's for the most part it spreads a good message, and it's just fun music to listen to at the club.
Yeah.
You be it just
We've
so
we've both been in music for so long now, right?
Yeah.
What do you do for longevity? Do you ever think like I want to do this as long as possible? Like let me take some steps to be able to do what I love every day still. Is there anything specific that you do for that?
Yeah, so that's a good question because a lot of people ask me that, it's like, how long do you plan on DJing?
Hmm.
And, my response has always been, well, I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, I don't see, I mean, obviously, as you get older, you have to think about, how else do I want to expand this? What other avenues can I do that are along the same lines, in the same industry, but maybe not working that many, those
Hmm.
hours or, shifting into something else. And I think that's why I've always tried to do a little bit of this and that just to kind of keep it fresh and not repetitive. And on a daily basis, I don't know. That's a good question. I guess every year I'm just trying to look for, um, something new, that a new opportunity like this past year doing a show in Mexico. That was like a good goal to set.
Hmm.
And so I don't know. I guess I'm just going to do it as long as I'm enjoying it and people are enjoying it. And I guess until I go deaf.
I think
You
the
know how
same
that
way.
DJ hearing is.
Yeah, I think the same way. Like I'm just whether it's DJing or production or whatever I'm doing, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to go towards what's inspiring me. And like
Yeah.
if it's music, like the sound that I'm enjoying is kind of where my sets go and where like my productions go.
Right.
Um and just I just try to go off of that. Like as long as I'm enjoying something, I keep at it. And then if I for whatever reason, if I feel like maybe that's like leaning towards, oh, I'm kind of getting bored of this, then I look at how I can flip that and make it fun again so I can keep doing
Right.
it. Because at the end of
Yeah.
the day, we love what we do. We want to do it for as long as possible. And it's
Exactly.
all about like finding ways to switch it up, make it fresh, and continue enjoying it, you know?
Yeah, just expanding. And I think one thing that I would love to do is dive in more into the production world. That's
Mm.
definitely a goal that, I've been mixing forever and I love it and it's great, but I want to be mixing more of my own tracks,
I'm
and
happy to help,
I
whatever you need.
appreciate that. Yeah,
I've been
no,
at
you
it for a while,
reached out and
so.
offered that before, and no, it does mean a lot, man. Um, and so that's just one of the goals that I think would kind of take everything to the next level.
Mhm.
But I really enjoy what I'm doing. I kind of block off. I've got my year kind of set up in sections. Being
Mhm.
out here January through March typically, then go back and I've got the shows that I do yearly, like we talked about the music fest, the Crooked Lake Music
Mhm.
Festival, like James and stuff like that. So that's always those are always fun to, kind of look forward to going back and seeing the same people, but in the same time, coming down to Georgia and playing down there in Milledgeville, time or two a year. It's just I try to really keep focused on those. And then wedding season is really busy. I still do quite a few of those. But not, but then also trying to keep weekends and time to enjoy ourselves and go out and do things with our friends because that's a tricky part, man. Is like when we're weekend warriors and all our friends are working during the week, it's really hard to coordinate, trying to make events and make plans. And so I just try to do them far out. One
Yeah.
thing we've been doing is like the Indy 500. I'll get the whole
Mhm.
weekend. I'm not working. I'm going down there. We're camping. We're going to the snake pit and the race and stuff like that. And I just have to block those out far in advance.
Yeah.
Or else we'll book something. You know
Yeah.
how it is.
The snake pit looks crazy. I've always been a big race fan growing up,
Oh
and I've
yeah,
never been to Indy. I've wanted to go, and like I want to find a way to get in there with it being like musical as well, with
yeah,
DJing, because it's
absolutely.
two things I love so much. You know what I mean?
Oh, you would
So,
love it, man. It's unbelievable. I mean, the concert starts at 7 o'clock in the morning,
yep.
and it's just go go, and it's in the infield of the racetrack. This
Hmm.
racetrack is so big. If you Google how big it is, like what can fit on the inside, it's just ridiculous. And they have a full golf course on the inside, and it's insane. So they have this big setup there at 7 o'clock in the morning. You're there, and it's like go go go, and then they take a little break while they do the flyover and all and the
Hmm.
flag and everything like that, and then they do the headliner. And I've seen Dead Mouse, and
Hmm.
if you remember, we've seen so many Cascade and you name it. But it's just so cool, man, because you got the cars going around you, and then you can just kind of walk around and watch a little bit of the race, come back to the concert. And the best part is they let you bring drinks and coolers in there.
Nice.
I'm like,
It's
what?
like
What
sim
festival does that?
yeah, it's similar to EDC where like there's so many people there. Like EDC Vegas, they do it on the speedway out there,
Uh-huh.
and it's like 500,000 people there that weekend. It's
Jeez.
ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
insane.
yeah. If you ever want to go, man, let's go. It's in May.
I would love to.
I would recommend it, man. It's pretty cool.
Again, it's that thing like finding time, like that work-life balance thing, especially on the weekends. Like I
Yeah.
one thing this year is I'm now that I'm in Atlanta, I've been living here for like the past 6 or 7 months now.
Mhm.
I'm trying to find more time to like go to shows and like when
Yeah.
I'm not DJing, like just be part of the culture, be in the community, meet
Right.
people that way in person because like I love what I do, but I don't want to miss out on other stuff because I'm always working. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
even though it feels counterintuitive, like I'm gonna take a day off here to like go do this and like I'm not making money, but like maybe I'll be able to like meet somebody who can help with something else. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
I don't know, it's one of those things.
Yeah. Like you said, you just have to have that work-life balance, and it
Hmm.
is tricky, man. And because what we do is on the weekends, and unfortunately, that's when a lot of the big shows and stuff are. But if you just plan it out, I feel like it works out,
Yeah.
pretty. But it's tough to say no to shows. But you're like, no, but you're like, I got to do it.
Right.
You got to have that balance because it's what life's all about, man. You
100%.
got to have that balance.
Being in Hawaii, do you think that impacts your creativity in any way?
Oh, man, coming out here is very special. I mean, it's hard to kind of comprehend just the energy that is out here. It's a
Mhm.
complete reset. Everything is so slow and chill, and yeah, a lot of time to not only reflect, but just get away from everything on the mainland. All the craziness over there, and it's just a nice time to kind of reset and then get ready to go back and have the crazy busy season pick up. So I feel really blessed, man, and I don't take it for granted. Like every time we come out here, it's just like, wow, this is just crazy. I mean, my dream when I was like a young kid was to come to Maui for my honeymoon for like a week.
Mm.
It was like that was like my dream. Much less would I ever think like 9 years coming out here, for the winters would ever be possible, man. And I'm so glad that I don't know, took the chance and just did it, man. And
Yeah.
I've been doing it ever since, and we're just kind of doing it as long as we can. Got a lot of good friends out here now that we've met over the years, and um, so it's always fun to get back here and just see those guys too,
Mhm.
But
Um,
yeah, definitely a good place to get some creative juices flowing.
you mentioned California and Chicago and Georgia a few times. Do you think being in Hawaii, being outside of like a major music hub
Mm.
is a disadvantage or a blessing? Because I
Mm.
would see it as kind of a reset. Like, you go there for the winter months, you kind of get away from all the craziness. It might be a little
Right.
bit more relaxed. You
Oh
got
yeah.
warmth, you can be in the sun, and then go back to it. I feel like that reset would be very important.
Oh, I mean, it's been a godsend, man. I
Hmm.
mean, it's like every year and people say, why don't you stay out here? And it's a little tricky. I mean, obviously, just family and everything like that back at home. But what we've got going on back there is it's going so well that it's almost like it's kind of working out pretty well because out here, yeah, it's a lot less going on. I mean, there's some bars and a couple of venues, but when it comes to shows and stuff like that, it would be a little trickier to do as much out here as I do back there.
Hmm.
Uh, but there are definitely opportunities, especially in the private market, weddings and stuff like that. I've got a lot of good friends out here that are full-time DJs that are doing a lot of weddings and a lot of private events. And there are some bars, more of the beach style,
Mm,
local style bars. And there are a couple of venues too, that bring in some talent every so often. But for the most part, it's a much smaller market than um, the mainland, depending on where you're at. I mean, I'm in
yeah,
Indiana too, so it just depends, but it's a good home base, especially in the winter being out here,
yeah. What um what would your ideal like lifestyle look like? Or do you already have that? You know what I mean? Going back and forth to Hawaii and traveling around.
Yeah,
What would the ideal, lifestyle be like?
yeah. I mean, I would love to spend a little bit more time out here.
Mm,
Um, I think 6 and 6 would be like amazing.
mm,
Um, but the ideal lifestyle, I mean, do a couple shows. I mean, obviously doing some shows, but at the same time not overdoing it,
mm,
where you're not constantly working. I've had a couple of like I was a concierge out here one year where I sold like luau's and whale watches and stuff like it was just a super fun job.
mm.
Um, and it was just kind of a part-time thing one of the first years we came out here, just so we could experience a lot of those excursions. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good one. I'm trying to think. Got a puppy running up on me. This is Klaus. Come here, Klaus. See if you can see him. Klaus.
What's up, Klaus?
Good boy. Yeah.
Big guy.
He is. Pretty cool, man. Just everybody's got dogs out here. It's kind of neat.
Hmm.
Even at the shelter, you can you can take a dog and go for a walk for the day and take him back. And
Oh, that's
it's just a
cool.
yeah, I don't know. It's just a really good culture out here. Just
Mm,
the way that people are, the way that they take care of the land and everything like that. It's just kind of like it's different out here. It
yeah.
doesn't feel like the U.S., but it is. It's just like, man, this is wild.
I
And
gotta
it's
visit,
out
man.
here. Yeah,
I
you're coming out. We'll get you out here. We're gonna blow your mind, man. It's pretty special, man. I mean, we really enjoy it, and we feel lucky to be able to have found it. Honestly,
Mm.
man. Be able to,
Um,
yeah,
touching on the work-life balance thing one more time,
yeah.
how do you find that limit where like you're not getting burnt out? Because like for example, doing my Thursday, Friday, Saturday every weekend thing, there's been times at the end of the week where I'll get sick and like I have to be like take a breather for like the week and be like, I hope that I kick this cold like before
Yeah,
Thursday because I have gigs again. You know what I mean? I don't
yeah,
know if
man.
it's just I don't know if it's overdoing it or like having so many people around me all the time that like you catch whatever's in the air or like what it
Probably a
is.
combination of both.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I just try not to do. I mean, 3 days in a row for me is I don't know a lot.
Mm,
I would say like if I've got 3 or 4 days in a row, it's like yeah, you're feeling toasted. 2 days is
yeah.
fine, but that third day you're like, whew,
And you're
yeah,
not sleeping well. It's hard to eat well on the road too. Because
oh yeah,
I like to sleep well, go to the gym, get good food, and
yep.
like all that is really hard to find on the weekends on the road. And
Oh, it's so hard.
I like to be on a schedule too. So like I like to wake up and like do certain things that goes out the window on the weekends. Because you're like in a hotel and like it's just I don't know, it's hard.
Yeah, you gotta find that self-control and some type of schedule, because yeah, like you said, you're up so late and then you're trying to stay with and during the week, if you're used to doing this, then on the weekends it just throws you completely for a loop. So I would just trying your best just to create whatever type of schedule you can and stick to it. For me, not getting burned out means um just not overbooking myself,
Mhm,
honestly.
mhm.
And I've done that before years ago where I was doing too much. And then I was just like, okay, quality over quantity, and if that means the prices have to go up, that's what it means, I mean,
That's what
it's
I was gonna ask. Like with it being your income, how do you manage being able to take time off but still make enough to sustain yourself? Is it
right.
raising your rates or like picking the bigger gigs or prioritizing that or how do you go about it?
Yeah, I mean, every year I try to have, some percentage of a rate increase just to,
Mm,
because every year I'm like, I'm so busy that I'm like, okay, if I raise it a little bit, it should kind of equal the scales, and it does. Once you kind of find that sweet spot. So doing that, but also just I don't know, being more mindful of what you want to take on, you
Hmm.
know, and trying to not, like I said, just try not overbook yourself, man, because
Right.
it's easy to do, and you're like, yeah, I could do that, yeah, I could do that, and then you got 4 or 5 shows, you're like, oh man, why am I doing this? And then you're like, oh no, I've got to be here, but then I have to be here, so it's like I just try to keep that balance, like everything else, man. It's just trying to not do too much where it's like, oh man, I don't even want to play at all anymore.
It's
'Cause I'm
it's
still enjoying
easy.
it, so I know I'm
Yeah.
kind of where I need to be at, but just trying to expand and do more cities, bigger shows, and just yeah, just show people a good time.
Yeah. It's easy to say yes when the opportunities are coming in, but then like it's not until you're there where you're like, hang on, like this is a lot right now.
Right. And I'm a yes man, so it's tough, man, because I
Yeah.
don't want to let people down and I don't want to say no, because it's like, I'd love to do it. Um,
Hmm.
and usually if I can, I do,
Yeah.
just there's only, I don't have a clone, so I wish I
Wouldn't that
did.
be nice?
Wouldn't it be nice?
What do you
Oh, yeah.
have next? What's there to look forward to in 2026?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be back. I'm not sure who the artist is, but more of a summer showcase
Hmm.
back at the casino in Michigan. So gonna be doing some more work up with those guys. Gonna be back at the Crooked Lake Festival. That's in Angola, Indiana. Gonna be coming back down to Georgia in April. So I'll keep in touch with you and let you know when I'm coming back down there. I'm not sure exactly how long I'll be in Hawaii, but probably
Hmm.
for another month or so. Um, and let me think what else is coming up this year. I don't know. I got a feeling it's going to be a good year, man.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel that way too. I don't know what it is, but I'm looking forward
Yeah, I
to
think it's gonna be a great year for you, bro. Yeah,
it. Thank you, man.
you got that momentum going, man, and you're very consistent, and you're really good with the social media part, which I feel is so important now.
Yeah.
I need to be better at it, just posting consistently. Um, but you've always been crushing it, man. You
Thank you,
know,
man.
not only the content and the quality of it, but the consistency of it too, which is inspiring, man. And I think it's if it inspires a couple guys to get into it, and I'm all for it. That's why I think the Hawaii thing, I try to tell people, I'm like, man, get out here, like
Yeah.
just book the ticket.
Yeah.
It's like it's 100% doable.
Absolutely. I try,
And
man. I there's sometimes I wish where social media wasn't such a big part of our jobs, but
right,
it is what it is. You know what I mean? You
yeah,
gotta adjust with the times and
I
like
know. We have to be graphic designers now. We have to be influencers of some sort.
yeah, you're a whole
But
payroll of
yeah,
just yourself.
all right. Because when I started, yeah, it was like nothing.
Yeah,
You have MySpace for a while, and now it's just like so heavy driven with social
yeah,
media stuff. But I mean, it does make sense because if people want to see, the shows you've done or the kind of the style that they're looking for, it's a good
yeah,
way to kind of send people your way and just kind of keep track of everything.
for
But yeah,
sure.
I'm with you. It's a little exhausting sometimes. You're trying to, oh, trying to get all that fun stuff, but get all that content.
Yeah. Speaking of, I don't want to take up too much of your time,
Oh, you're
but
okay, buddy.
where can people find you? Where can they see your stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram, it's DJ double KITS DJ DOUBLEK. That's pretty much where I post everything. Upcoming shows, mixes. I'm gonna be doing more mixes this year too. Getting some more
Nice.
stuff recorded. I need to be better at that. I used to do a lot of that, but I need to start recording some more stuff. I might be doing some live streams on Twitch also
Nice.
from Maui. So we'll
Nice.
see about getting some stuff. There's some pretty cool little areas I want to set up and do some vibey stuff, and then yeah, coming down to see you. Hopefully, we'll be doing a tag team set here soon.
Please, I would love to. That'd be so
That would
much
be a
fun.
lot of fun, man. What
Awesome.
about
Well,
you? What
hey,
do you got coming up?
Oh man, running wide open. Like I said, every
Awesome.
weekend, got gigs. I'm releasing a song a month. I'm also going to be doing a mix series on SoundCloud. I
Oh,
just got
great.
a an FLX4, like super tiny board, but it sits
Mhm.
right on my table, like in my studio, so I can just bust out a mix real quick. I don't have to set up like CDJs or anything. Hooks up to
Love
the
that.
laptop, super easy. It's all you need. Um,
Yep.
so just trying to get more content on there. I'm doing, stuff like this, talking to people, just trying to do as much as I can, knocking it
Well,
out,
I
enjoying
appreciate it,
it.
man. And I big
Of
time
course.
appreciate the invite of having me out, man. I was looking forward to this big time.
Absolutely. We'll be doing it again soon. I would love to have you back on, maybe later this year, see, kind of check
Awesome.
in, see how things have gone. That'd be cool.
That'd be great. Look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, hey, Double K, really appreciate you. This has been a great talk, and we'll be catching up soon.
All right. Take care, guy. Aloha.
See ya.
Take care.